Friends, welcome to the Gospel Reflection for this Sunday, 29th Sunday in Ordinary Time. As we navigate through these times with COVID 19 and also in a liturgical season, may we fix our gaze on Christ, who invites us today to render our proper dues to the society and to God in proportion. On this 29th Sunday in Ordinary Time, Jesus emphasizes through the gospel reading a profound spiritual principle, which kind of hits on more a social and a spiritual responsibility. Once there was a young couple whose young son swallowed a coin and they were kind of panicked, and they said right away, let's go to the doctor to take the coin out from his throat. Right away, and as they were confused, grandma who's in their house right away said, you don't have to take him to the doctor, just take him to the priest. They said, why? And the grandma right away said, priest has the knack of getting money from people. Hence, it might sound kind of funny, but nevertheless, there's spiritual truth to that. In the gospel reading today, Jesus tells us, as he answered the Pharisees on that day, to give what is due to Caesar, and to God, to God. The social and spiritual dimensions of our lives is so important that there needs to be a balance. The thing is that oftentimes we choose either or. I may be so much involved in doing my social responsibility to the extent that I forget or neglect my spiritual responsibility. Sometimes it could be the other way. Oftentimes, what happens in a spiritual life could be that we don't get this balance. As a result, we find ourselves always in a kind of conflict. St. Thomas More, when he was in the court of King Henry VII in England, he had a tough challenge to do. It was like King Henry wanted to marry Anne, and he wanted to get a kind of annulment from Catherine, for whom he got a dispensation from Rome. When King Henry asked all of his courtiers to sign a kind of documentation, Thomas More said, I will not sign. And the king threatened him, saying that either you choose life or you choose to sign. Thomas More replied to the king, I am a citizen of this country. I am a king's good servant, but God first. I think his example summarizes what we are called to do today. Nowadays when we travel, we hold a passport, and each year the passport index agency in the world kind of evaluates and gives a ranking to the passports all over the world. A passport strength is measured in terms of a person holding it can travel to number of countries without having to procure a visa. Means your American passport, which you hold, is good for you to travel to so many countries without having to get a visa. But today, the gospel focuses on our citizenship of heaven. A passport, which is an identity of my citizenship, of my nationality. An American, an Indian, a Mexican, a Canadian, an Australian, a New Zealand, German, French. All of us do hold a passport, a national identity. But more so today for a spiritual life, what we are called to do is to grow in our identity and citizenship, which is the ultimate one for all of us, that of heaven. And Jesus strikes that balance today. To become and to be engaged in rendering our dues to God. Especially now as our country moves towards the presidential election. All that the country is moving towards. The early voting has already begun. And the voting is also going to happen on November 3rd. Yeah, we have a responsibility. We have a social, a civic responsibility towards our nation as a faithful citizen. We cast our vote in true conscience, in good conscience. But more so as a Christian Catholic, we have an obligation, a responsibility to render our dues to God. That begins with my own obligation to participate in Sunday Mass. Now that there is COVID and there are restrictions, the dispensation for the Sunday obligation has been in place, especially keeping in mind the most vulnerable, the elderly, and those who are prone to get sick. But if you're healthy, right? If you're healthy and you have no underlying medical conditions, though there is a dispensation from the obligation of Sunday, you can still go for Mass. You can participate in the Mass. That is how you and I render our dues to God. I can as well say that, okay, there's a dispensation, but in your deepest core of your heart, you're good, right? We go to HEB, we go to do grocery shopping, we drop our kids, we do everything else. But when it comes to my spiritual responsibility as a citizen of heaven, member of Christ's body, how am I doing my responsibility? I take so much pain, so much interest to render my social responsibility. But more so, how am I engaging? And that's what Jesus says. Pay to Caesar what is due to Caesar, and give to God what is due to God. And one thing we do as faithful citizens and law-abiding citizens, we pay our taxes, don't we? We pay our taxes to show that we are in a country where we grow as a nation in our identity and also contribute my share, our share, to the common economic health and structure of the country. But when it is translated into my nation, my ultimate citizenship, which is of heaven, how am I doing it? Jesus challenges us. Pay to Caesar what is due to Caesar. Give to God what is due to God. On this 29th Sunday in Ordinary Time, dear brothers and sisters, let us reflect and see, what is my spiritual and social responsibility on this Mission Sunday? The church celebrates today the Mission Sunday all over the world. The mission is not just limited to missionaries. Mission is given to all of us because we are baptized. How am I doing my mission to my nation, to my country? And more so, how am I doing justice to the mission which is entrusted to me as a member of Christ's body? Friends, know that you are in my prayers as we navigate through these times with the COVID-19. You are in my prayers, and let's support each other, especially in these days and weeks moving towards the presidential election. May we pay our dues. May we exercise our spiritual and social responsibility to pay to God what is due to God and pay to the nation what is due to the nation. Father Praveen Lakkisetti, here at Our Lady of Grace Catholic Church, Our Lady of Sorrows Catholic Church, St. Peter Prince of the Apostles, San Antonio, Texas. Thank you. God bless.